Welcome to the Candid Conversations blog YouTube channel. In this Candid Comment video edition, Cliff Tour is commenting on Canada's entry into the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Don't forget we are on the web at oneononecandidconversations.blogspot.com. Now here is a bit more about Canada's soccer team and the FIFA World Cup. FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, was founded in 1904 to provide unity among national soccer associations. It has 209 members, and Canada is one of them. The Canadian team is overseen by the Canadian Soccer Association. Canada has attempted to qualify 11 out of 13 times and qualified once in 1986 and for this World Cup. In '86, the team qualified and did not win a single game. The World Cup has been around since 1930, and for the most part, Canada has not entered its team. In total, including this year, there have been 22 World Cups. Canada is in Division F and has played one team, Belgium, and lost 1-0. Other interesting facts about the World Cup are, for the most part, mostly European and South American teams win the cup, and no team in Central or North America, Asia, or Australia has won the cup. Brazil has won 5. Germany 4. Italy 4. Argentina has 2 wins. Uruguay 2. Here is a surprise, England has only 1 World Cup win. France has also gotten 2 wins. Qatar is the first Arab country to host the World Cup. And in 2026, 3 countries will host the event: Canada, Mexico, and the USA. This is the first time 3 countries will co-host the World Cup. It is an amazing feat to get into the World Cup, and Cliff is commenting on why even with a loss to Belgium for Canada, it's still a win. So without further delay, here is Cliff with his commentary.
Hello and welcome to Candid Conversations on our YouTube site and of course on our blog at oneononecandidconversations.blogspot.com. I'm Cliff Tour, and today I'm going to be commenting on Canada and FIFA and the World Cup that Canada is actually playing in. So I will first and foremost preamble this by saying I am not a soccer watcher. I don't watch the sport. I don't really participate in it. In any way, shape, or form as far as any kind of fandom whatsoever. But I do think it's really, really interesting to see that Canada is in the World Cup. And they have not made an appearance for quite a long time. As noted in my preamble or in the preamble to this particular video, Canada, the last time we were there, 1986. Interestingly enough, Canada has basically been attempting to get in the World Cup 13 times out of the 22 that have been done, and of the 13, only 2 were successful qualifications in '86, and of course now. '86, the team went, they did not win a single game. In fact, they got blown out quite a bit. And back in the day when the World Cup was around in the 30s and 40s and 50s, for the most part, Canada didn't even participate. We just simply didn't get into it. But Canada has a long history of soccer, or football as it's called in Europe. In particular, the timeline goes back to the 1800s, and Canada has a pretty strong team at this time. So it should be a really interesting thing to see what they do. Now, they did lose against Belgium 1-0, and of course, what they're going to try and do is beat Croatia. If they beat Croatia, they go on to their next game, which I believe is against Morocco. And if they beat them, they continue on. Whether or not they will be able to do this is good. Obviously, for the morale of the team and, of course, of the country. If they don't, at least we can say one thing for sure. It's a win in a lot of ways. For the fact that it promotes soccer in Canada, or football, it's a great win in that way, that we see soccer being played across the country. Mainly, I noticed when I was living out in Alberta, it was very, very big. But right across Canada, soccer is definitely a sport that's being on the grow. It's become quite a fan favorite, and people are really into it. Particularly those who have a European background are really interested in this. Secondly, the fact that the Canadian team is now in the running in the F division. Will Canada win the World Cup? I really doubt it. I cannot see them doing that because the strong contenders are mainly in the European theater and also in the South American arenas. So, for example, Brazil is one of the best in this particular sport as far as fielding teams. They've won 5 of these things, so it's very, very unlikely Canada will win the World Cup. It would be a miracle and a half if we got to the World Cup final and actually won the title. That probably will come in decades, not a decade, but in decades. It might, but really, in all honesty, I can't see it at this round. Maybe the next round we might get up to a little bit higher because we've got a good team that's out there. I mean, losing 1-0 is, like I said, not great, but at the same time, it's still a win because, as I mentioned, it really promotes the sport. It gives the feeling that Canada is now becoming a contender slowly but surely in World Cup play, and I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see how this grows. Um, Now, the last time I saw any kind of World Cup was in Montreal, and it was in South Africa. And it was funny because I went to a bar with my brother, and we were just interested in hanging around, and they wanted to watch soccer. And in South Africa, they played, and it was horrendous to watch. To be honest, for me, it was like all you heard was the commentators, doing their thing, but in the background, this awful noise, this thing called a vuvuzela. And I'm sorry to say it was an awful noise, because to me, at least, it just sounded like blue all the way through. But this is an interesting instrument. It's very well known in South Africa. It's played, but at a soccer match, it just really kind of detracted from what was going on. Um, like I said, I've never really followed the sport. I've never really gotten into this particular genre of sport. I mean, my thing is hockey, and I follow the Winnipeg Jets. That's who I basically hold an allegiance to. And of course, I'm not wearing my Winnipeg Jets hat, but hey, I am a fan of the Jets. But getting back to the soccer, the other thing I think that really helps having Canada in the World Cup is that it also shows that we're unified behind a team as a country. I think the fact that Canada now has a team out there and it's a strong team, is really indicative of the fact that we're behind this. We're really into seeing them grow and become a real world contender. So um, this is a bit of a short comment. I'm not really going to be sticking around too long here on this because, to be honest with you, my knowledge of soccer and how it's played and whatnot is just so limited. But I think I want to basically be a promoter here today and say, go Canada, go. If you're into the World Cup and you're Canadian, let's raise the Canadian flag a little high today and say, way to go, Canada. At least we're in it. We're doing something where we should be very, very proud of the team and show the support and love towards them for the fact that they've done something here. They've actually gone forward and put their all into this, and I think it's really super to see that they've done so. And um, I was talking with one of my colleagues at work. His name is Cameron, and Cameron and I agreed, yeah, it was a loss, but it's a win in a lot of ways. Just the fact that they're there. And I can't stress that enough. The fact that they're there, they're in this thing, they're in the middle of it is amazing. And of course, there's a lot of things going on with the World Cup, particularly in Qatar. There's a lot of questions about their human rights records. It's an Arab country that's um, extremely conservative with the drinking laws and such and morality laws. And what's going on, of course, in other Arab countries, particularly in Iran, what we're seeing there, it's really tough for them. And they couldn't have had um, a more difficult time of it because of this thing with what's going on in Iran. It's just basically kind of made it a little bit harder for the Qataris to have a solid World Cup. So I feel bad for them in a lot of ways. It's not their fault. What's going on in Iran is not their fault. So they shouldn't have to really bear the brunt of that. But there are certainly concerns with regard to the country, in particular with its record with regard to women, persons who are in the gay community, LGBTQ. Um, Sorry, I probably got that wrong, but in that community, and other things with regard to labor laws and such. Um, but at the end of the day, this is a sport, and the politics really shouldn't be in there. So that's another comment I wanted to bring to the table. So Canada being in the midst of all of this, playing and just focusing on the game is a big plus. And I think that's what they should just do. They should just stay away from any kind of controversies, just play their game, and hopefully move into the next level and get up there. I would love to see them get past Croatia, and I believe it's Morocco they're going to be playing next. It would be great if they do. Whether they do or don't is neither here or there because, as I've pointed out, in my opinion, this is a win for Canada. I think again we want to raise our flags, and if we had a vuvuzela, maybe toot it too, because the bottom line is we've done something marvelous here with this particular team going to the World Cup. And in the climate that we're in this country with all the things that are going on, it's nice to see something happy here. So that's my take on this. You can always drop by our website at one-on-one candidconversations.blogspot.com. You can also email me at candidconversations@hotmail.com. You can like or subscribe in the video. And we'd like to see this channel grow. It's slowly growing, getting subscribers, getting views. I appreciate everybody coming in and taking a look and watching these videos. It's really, really nice to see that. And I'm hoping that we'll see more growth and more people taking a look. So thanks again if you've dropped in. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I would also love it if you liked this video and the other ones that we have on the site. It really, really will be appreciated. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. I'm Cliff Tour. Check you later.